We're going? We're going. Okay. All right. Hey, I'm an idiot. I accidentally had the video set on private. Oops. Fixed. You guys are allowed in now. Yay. All 6 of you that are... stupid Houston. Yeah. Canada Day. Canada's independence. Good old July 1st. They are... Whoops. The monkey cam got all out of shape there. You still have the queen on your money, so I don't know how independent you actually are, but, you know, good for you. Good for you for having huge amounts of crown land and being Canadian. What was I going to talk about, monkey butt? Give me side eye again. Big green day for absolutely no reason. It's been nothing but terrible news. Bonds are on pace to have their worst year since 1865. Wait. Oh, this little flash just came up and said, now would be a good time to insert ads. Creators earn more money inserting ads the more viewers are watching. Give it a try. I didn't even know that was a thing there, but I can always put ads in later and we'll worry about that then. Yeah, bonds are doing terrible. Housing is doing terrible. Inflation is doing terrible. The price of shipping is collapsing even though oil prices are still screaming high. So things are, meh. But it was green today, so jumped on the bandwagon, picked up a couple of puts for next week from the SPY. There's going to be a short trading week, so at least one day of panic has to be in there somewhere. And those suckers will hopefully print for me a little bit. Yeah, and, oh man, sad boy, I have not gotten to that video yet. Oh my gosh, I keep forgetting to watch it. Okay, I'll get there. I'll get there, I promise. But until then, you get one of these. Woo! Okay, that's off. I am not double introing today. It is off. Okay. Jalen Austin, Houston. Ma? All right. Captain Rhino, Houston, I got my Kryptide. Did you? I did get my Kryptide. And it is worth way less than they promised. They were saying it's going to be a $10 stock. It is $2. Womp womp. So not only was it like 7, 8, 9, 10 months late, but it is a fraction of the price they promised. So let's hope that there's a whole bunch of defaults on failure to deliver those things. But my guess is that it might be a dud. I guess we'll see in 3 months if there's a spike in price of anything. So, yeah. Granny bags, woohoo. Bzzz. Houston, are you still thinking of investing in mostly stocks to secure your MOAS post-squeeze? Largely, because it's passive. I have no interest in like opening my own restaurant or starting my own business or doing things that are work-related. I want to be able to just set it and not think about it ever again. So, dividends, index funds with annuities, things like that totally work for me. So that's probably where I'm going post-MOAS. George Mendioka, you made a live show. That I did, George. This is also, I wonder what the best way to secure money would be. Well, I mean, you can actively trade again and try to compound that stuff and get some big wins. Play the options market, do whatever. But like, if you get to the point you have enough money, why? Like, I don't need that much to live happy and content and travel, which is really what I want to do. So if I don't have to like look at the market and that just money just gets deposited every month or every quarter into my account, I am totally cool with that. I will gladly live the life of a trust fund baby, and Monkey Butt can enjoy her greatest days. And if this guy's still around, I only got what, 2.5 more months of you, big dog, and then I am free of the big dog. Woo! So, Artemis, what happened to the last charity vid? I can't see on the list. I got a bit tempered with some trolls, and I made it private. I'm probably going to edit out some portions. I don't know. But they pissed me off big time last show, and I'm glad we reached our goal. We reached our goal, raised over $1,000 for the National Brain Tumor Society. But, yeah, the trolls were getting me hot and bothered, and hopefully we can avoid hot and bothered Houston today. And we can just have fun. It's Friday. Let's have fun. So, yes. Oh, shoot. Where'd that go? Sorry, I just lost the chat here. Sad Boy Incorporated. Thoughts on working in the oil field? I want a job that will allow me to buy as much GameStop as possible. Oil field guys make a boatload. That's for sure. Their jobs are very, like, you know, the minute oil drops below a certain price, everyone gets fired, and then you're sitting around, and then oil takes off again, and everyone's making $200,000 a year. They call them roughnecks for a reason. It can be hard work, but you can make a fortune while doing it, and, you know, callus up your hands and get Popeye forearms. Andrew Stewart, Houston saw the monkey butt pics on Twitter, adorable. What is her real name, or is that actually it? Her real name is Monkey Butt Destroyer of Worlds. That's her full official name, as on her license and at the vet. Right, Monkey Butt Destroyer of Worlds. Right, Monkey Butt. Come here, Monkey Butt. Come here. Come on, get up here. Get up. Okay, get up here. Get up here then. Come say hi. Oh, you were out in the sunshine too long. You are just a mop. Oh, you're just a worm dog, aren't you? Oh, it's so awful being a dog sitting in the sunshine all day. She does not want to move. She's like, I'll get closer to you and lay on the floor here. But yes, Monkey Butt Destroyer of Worlds. Greedy Investor, what's your opinion on Bed Bath & Beyond, GME all over? Bed Bath & Beyond is a screaming deal. You can buy the entire company for $500 million, right? And they do $12 billion in sales a year. It's the exact same situation GameStop was in April 2020. $5 to $6 billion in sales a year. You could buy the entire company for $200 million. It's just a screaming deal. This is what happens when a company gets artificially shorted well below what is their actual worth. A company that makes $12 billion in sales a year should have a market value of $50 to $100 billion. That's how we treat other companies that make sales like that. So Bed Bath & Beyond should be worth way more than it is. And Ryan Cohen did not agree to join the board at Bed Bath & Beyond, so he can buy as much as he wants of that company. And he can do a hostile takeover he wants. He could write a check right now and buy the entire company. He has the money. So Bed Bath & Beyond is probably going to scream at some point. It's artificially low. And they kicked the CEO out, who was a hedge fund insider. They're remaking the board with basically Ryan Cohen's proxies. So I think that they're gonna fly high. Citadel says, there was Ryan Cohen still holding Bed Bath & Beyond $80 calls, as far as I know, for January. The calls are weirdly a little bit expensive on Bed Bath & Beyond. I was looking at those and I was like, that's kind of a high price. But, you know, those lottery tickets will be worth a boatload. I think he spent $1.2 million on his $80 calls. And if they pay off, they'd be worth a couple of billion. So that's not too shabby. That's something to go for. First name, last name, Houston. If MOAS happens and Fidelity gets liquidated, what's to say that we will get MOAS prices instead of insurance payouts? I hope I get what I'm trying to ask. I don't think Fidelity has a chance of being liquidated. They're long on GameStop and the other things. They are not part of the DTCC. They are their own clearinghouse. They would have to liquidate themselves to themselves. They're also their own prime broker. They're a one-stop shop. I don't think Fidelity has any chance of going under during MOAS. They're gonna make a fortune off of it. Cole Trickle, happy 4th weekend, Houston. Yeah, it is the 4th of July weekend. Ooh, baby. It's actually nice weather outside. We got it going on, man. It's nice and sunny out there. Mate Zabados, good evening from Hungary. Welcome from Hungary. Got everybody in the world here. It's late for you guys. It's okay. Interweb user, bonds reversed down hard today. 10-year under 3 makes 0 cents, but roll with it. Are we inverted right now? I mean, we are a few days from them announcing that we're officially in a recession because the Q3 numbers are going to come through, and our Q2 numbers are going to come through, and we're going to be negative. We're going to have negative growth this quarter, and we're officially going to be in a recession. Like a week ago, they're saying, "Oh, recession's not very likely," and then this week they're all like, "Recession's pretty likely. We're going to be in a recession." There's no way you can have like $9 gasoline in the U.S. and not enter a recession. Tourism numbers are starting to crunch. A lot of people who made their bookings like last fall, they're taking those vacations because they got them cheap and they're paid for. But people who are going to take like, I'm going to take a weekend here and go to places, they're not going anywhere. It's expensive, and I see issues coming up as far as that's concerned. Okay. Oh shoot! Why does it keep resetting on me? I hate that. Clay Chambliss, thoughts on Mullen not dropping the Fortune 500 info? Mullen, what? They're still a thing? Why would Mullen be a Fortune 500 company? Oh, there's an order from a major Fortune 500 company. Ah. Okay, that's from March. People apparently want to license tech of theirs, but I don't see Mullen as a long-term anything. They're hemorrhaging cash like crazy. They can't get semiconductors to build their cars. Lithium's crazy expensive. I don't see them surviving this, unless for some reason they do squeeze in a way that it happens soon. Like their stock pops to $100 a share, and they can like sell some to get some more buying power. But I don't see Mullen surviving this. If you can't produce a car, then you aren't a car company. Like, you can build 2 of them that may or may not drive because they don't have any semiconductors in there. But I don't know. I think they're at this point they're a hustle. And, they might still squeeze because there's more shares out there than should be, but I don't see them as a long-term company at all. Mupulin, I read the point of DRS is to prove naked shorting, giving GME the right to withdraw TCC their shares, causing panic. What can the DTCC do if that happens? Nothing. I think they've got 90 days to give them all the shares to put it into a different system. So, and GMErica is supposedly launching on like the 14th. The Immutable X coins got deposited, like over 1 billion Immutable X coins got deposited into the GME account, and the marketplace should be opening. Some are saying the 14th, some are saying next week. We'll see what happens, and if they can get that marketplace up and running, you can barter all sorts of things on there. Chakuseki, thoughts on SCOTUS decision regarding EPA? Noam Chomsky was right that the GOP threatens the whole mankind. The EPA ruling is really bad. Basically, it says that regulatory bodies cannot write regulations, and that Congress has to specifically write the regulations for every regulatory body anywhere. So let's say a new technology comes out for an airplane, right? And that airplane has some sort of sensor in it that's new and different, and the FAA would not be allowed to test that, certify it, regulate it, mandate it whatsoever, unless Congress did the investigation and wrote the law specifically allowing that. So rather than Congress, created these agencies like the EPA and FAA and NSTB, NTSB and OSHA and MRSA and all sorts of stuff, because they don't have the time to be the regulator for all of these things. They created a regulatory agency, they codified it into law. They said, your job is to do all the research and to come up with the rules that govern these things, because we don't have the time to do that. And the Supreme Court ruled, no. Even though you wrote that law saying it was okay for them to come up with those regulations, you aren't allowed to do that. And that flies in the face of 250 years of the United States having regulatory agencies regulating. The Supreme Court was wrong here, and they did it specifically because they don't like the idea of the EPA monitoring air and if it's clean or not out of power stations. It was completely oil industry lobbied thing, and defeats the entire purpose of the Clean Air Act, Clean Water Act, and the EPA Act. The court was wrong here, and we're screwed. We're screwed if regulatory agencies can't regulate. We're screwed. I mean, forget the SEC, forget the Department of Justice, forget the Federal Trade Commission, forget federal insurance. All those things are out the window, and that's the precedent that was sent. And now we've got a Congress that can't really accomplish anything because they're useless, and they're going to have to write specific laws for every single solitary thing that's ever regulated ever in this country. They're going to have to be like, okay, so vulcanizing components and tires must be made up of this, and this, and it cannot exceed these tolerance. We cannot, as a country, afford to have Congress bogged down with the minutia of regulating specifics for everything. We're screwed. We are absolutely screwed, and this court has just doomed us. The only solution is literally for Congress to expand the court to 13 justices or more, pack the court with a bunch of people who aren't going to put up with this shit, and just rehear cases. Find another case that's coming along, rehear it, change precedent, and move on. That's the only way we're going to survive this. If this court gets its way on everything, we're screwed as a country. They have essentially managed to make it so that the president has no authority, Congress has no authority, and the court is the only thing with authority in the country. And you cannot survive as a nation with that. It's time to check and balance the court for sure. Okay. Okay, William Morgan. Government data out yesterday shows real per capita disposable income, the money consumers can spend after accounting for tax inflation, is dropping sharply. Very much so. We are going to be a nation of penny pitchers soon. Yeah. All right, let's see here. Houston, 500K. You get to go away. Da-doink. 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 Come on. What the hell? There we go. There you go. Yeah, okay. All right. Sorry, there's a guy that's a Citadel plant that keeps harassing me on Twitter and coming onto the chat and being a pain in the ass. He's going to have to create new account after new account after new account. But every time he shows up, he's getting deleted. So, gotta take care of that guy. Drew Saul, can you talk about the difference, significance of GME being pushed off to exchanges? Internalized IOUs versus dark pools, GME 6% volume off exchange. I mean, that's dark pools. Dave Lauer kept saying like Apex isn't dark pool. Apex is 100% dark pool. Those are trades not being reported to the main exchanges, so the price is reported. That makes it a dark pool. It might be its whole system set up to do those trades and function as its own exchange, But if it's not reporting the prices, then it's a dark pool. So yeah, the significance is that when the price is going up, a lot of those trades get pushed into the dark pools, and when the price is going down, then they'll push them into lit pools and report the price. So they'll manipulate both ways with that. And like, hey, look, there's a bunch of volume today, and the price is going down, even though, you know, when the volume actually is really high, so much of it is being pushed through dark pools. The regulators, and this is one of those things that's the EPA ruling the Supreme Court, like the SEC, prior to yesterday, could say, we're getting rid of dark pools, and that'd be cool. But due to this EPA ruling, they may have to go to Congress and get Congress to write a law that says no more dark pools. So we may run into some walls when it comes to effectively regulating the markets as a result of this Supreme Court ruling. Yeah, there should be zero volume off exchange for any stock ever. Every single stock should have to go through an exchange, and that price should be reported. I do not support, the idea of these dark pools is that you can do specific offerings to a company, or you can have a company take over another one, and they'll strike some sort of deal like, hey, we'll buy 100 million of your shares at this price, let's do it. And that's what the dark pool originally was for. And that way, you wouldn't have 100 million share volume on a day when it wasn't expected, causing the price to go screaming. But I think the price should go screaming on deals like that. I think every single trade should be put through a lit exchange, and there should be no dark pools and nothing like that at all, ever. Mupulin, why can't GME just withdraw their shares now? Why is DRS necessary to prove naked shorting? Why do you think some are opting to take the DRS play? They may need to cite a specific reason to withdraw their shares. There was speculation that they would offer an NFT dividend that would unsuccessfully go out because the brokerages wouldn't be able to handle it, and that would be an excuse to pull their shares. But if it appears as though legit stuff is happening, then they don't have that concrete proof to say, hey, you guys are screwing up. We need to pull our shares. So the argument is you DRS everything, and if shares are still trading, then shenanigans. And you can say, hey, give us our shares back. But shenanigans are happening anyway. I mean, the Bloomberg terminals the other day were showing 1 billion shares existing of GameStop, which puts us right in that range of where we think we are, that about 20 times the float. Why do you keep resetting, you stupid chat? Come on, where I deleted you. Okay. All right, let's government data one. No, Snoopy, don't go. Oh my goodness. Snoopy, I love you, buddy. But I'll be so glad when you're gone. You are just a drain. With Monkey Butt can just go everywhere with me. She's a cool dog. She's chill. She loves everyone. She's happy. We go into town and hit all the stores, and they give her treats, and they love her up. Big Dog wants to kill every dog he sees and loses his goddamn mind and snaps his leashes and goes and tries and kills dogs. And it's just so exhausting. I go on walks and I see a dog a quarter mile away, and I have to go hide up someone's driveway and distract them so he doesn't freak out, snap his leash, and go kill someone. It is exhausting. It's very exhausting. He's so lovely with humans, but my God, is he awful with other dogs. He just wants to eat them. Nothing I can do about it. Andrew Stewart, Houston, what's the best worst scenario? West Virginia SCOTUS case. Can this be fixed? Which one's the West Virginia case? Sorry, I gotta look it up. Oh, it's the EPA one. Okay, yeah. I mean, there's no best case with that one. It's all worst case. It means bad stuff. Because they're going to apply it to other regulatory agencies across the country, and National Park Services won't be allowed to make their own rules. The National Transportation Safety Board won't be allowed to set rules for crash tests or mileage or safety standards for seatbelts or anything else. Like, Congress is going to have to write a specific law for every single solitary piece of minutia that's going to go into any regulatory system. So you're going to have a whole set of hearings about, when you're in an underground mine made of this particular material, we're going to need load-bearing material to hold up the walls every 16 feet of this grade lumber, and blah, 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 blah. And Congress is going to have to write a specific law about that kind of mine. And then the next type of rock mine is going to come along. Okay, we got an aggregate mine, and you have to write a specific law about that. And if anything changes, if there's a new study that comes out that shows that, this thing needs to be tweaked here or there, Congress would have to write a specific law to protect that. Can you imagine the nightmare that's going to happen as a result of that? It's going to result in no regulation. That we're gonna have cars and airplanes without safety standards. They're gonna be dropping out of the sky, wheels be falling off of shit. There can be no recalls. It's gonna be a nightmare. And the court just screwed us on that one. William Morgan also says U.S. factory activity slows to 2-year low as clouds gather over economy. Yep, we haven't had this low output since the entire economy shut down in March 2020, and we're not shutting down at the moment, but we are slowing down. Renegade Gina says, Houston, if the definition of recession is 2 slow GDP quarters and a year-to-date low S&P 500, adjusted for inflation, we're officially in the first day of recession. Yep. It won't officially happen until they announce the quarter numbers, but we're going to have a negative GDP for this quarter for sure. There's no way you can have fuel prices at where they are right now and not have a negative. And home prices shrinking, and yeah, GDP is definitely going down. Stephen Marr, any technology on the horizon that get you excited? I mean, I would have thought by now, like the big talk that Microsoft was doing about 10 years ago about augmented reality was that augmented reality would be here by now. Google Glass came out with their stuff a decade. When was Google Glass? 2013? Let me look this up real quick. Google Glass was 2013. So 9 years ago, Google Glass came out, and they got rid of it. I mean, it was kind of a system, but it was a first step towards this augmented reality, and the Microsoft AR didn't look like normal glasses and project things into on the screen. My brother was working at Intel a few years ago, and they made these crazy glasses that have a laser beam that project a laser into like the back of your eyeball, and you have a heads-up display wherever you look, just basically projected into your brain. And they spent $1 billion developing this, like hundreds of patents, made this thing. My brother's flying all over the world, like getting lasers specifically tuned and whatnot. And they released this awesome video about like, hey, check out this technology. We are going to make so much money off of this because the U.S. military is going to have their soldiers wear these things, have heads-up displays of what's happening on the battlefield at all times, the real-time information and everything. And Intel just cut the program after spending $1 billion on development. It's kind of crazy, like the patents and the work that went into making something that was pretty awesome. Real-time information, I think, is going to be one of those things that I don't know if we're going to get used to it, or if like they're going to keep spending money developing this stuff and then it doesn't go anywhere, people don't buy it or whatever. But I am curious to also see what happens, like doing augmented reality and just putting them on the heads of people with schizophrenia. Like just a pure like train wreck morbid curiosity, like what happens if you can like make monsters appear out of nowhere? What does that do to their brain? I don't know. Moopulin, if shenanigans is truly happening, is it possible the DTCC hedge funds have a loophole That's the reason GME hasn't recalled their shares. The loophole is the DTCC doesn't have to show their books to anyone. They can keep everything totally secret and totally hidden, and never have a reason to show you something. They don't respond to subpoenas if there's lawsuits. They don't do anything. So, like, if you go to DTCC and say, "Hey, DTCC, show us all the shares and all the brokerages for my company," DTCC says no. And you go, "Well, I'm gonna go take you to court and I'm gonna get a subpoena." DTCC is like, "Good luck. You go to court, get a subpoena," and the judge goes, "Nah." Never once has the DTCC ever had to show their books to somebody. In what, 50 years of existing, they've never had to show their books to someone. That's crazy. That they're the ones who manage the shares for the entire market, for almost the entire world, and they do not have to show their books to anybody. They're a private company. They don't want to show their books. They don't have to show their books, and no court has had the balls to make them do that. So, yeah, that's the big loophole, is that they don't have to show anyone what's going on. Okay. Silver volume is up. Gold volume is up. Wow. Okay. Atlanta Fed GDP estimates being plus 0.3%. And a couple days later, -1. Yeah, it's going to be negative. All right, Emerald Nutmeg. You got coordinates for me. All right. 40 degrees north, 124 west. We're on the west side of the United States. We're perhaps southern Oregon? Northern California? Let's take a look here. Copy that. Gotta go Google Earth. Gotta go scene. Gotta go Google Earth. Da-da-da. Bam, bam, bam. We are in Northern California. Where are we? Arcata? Where am I? Eureka? Arcata? We are Humboldt. The Humboldt? Yeah, Eureka. Okay. So we are Northern California, if you guys can't see. We're up here. This is where just a whole bunch of meth heads do trimming all year long and are just really weird. Okay, so we are going to this Wikipedia spot. Carson Mansion. Carson Mansion's got quite the parking lot. I'm sure these were like beautiful grounds at one time, but now it's just a giant parking lot. All right, Carson Mansion, what do you got for me? Full article. Carson Mansion, a large Victorian house located in Old Town, Eureka. Regarded as one of the premier examples of Queen Anne-style architecture in the United States. That's a pretty cool Gothic-looking building. The house is considered the most grand Victorian home in America. It is one of the most written about and photographed Victorian houses in California, possibly also in the United States. Well, that's a pretty cool looking building right there. Like, why don't we build stuff like that anymore? Total Addams Family awesomeness. Like, it's gorgeous. I've driven past this place, but I've never been there. So it was California's first major lumber barons built it. Oh, it's been a private club since 1950. Grounds are not open to the public. Oh, that's why I haven't been there. It's a private club. Ingomar Club. All right, it's from the owner was from New Brunswick but lived in San Francisco. So it must have been like a vacation home. All right. So last time I went through Eureka, cool place. I'm gonna check that out. Last time I went to Eureka, I was driving through. This was years ago. I've done that. Pacific Coast Highway trip down there. Driving through, picking up a friend to go film our ill-fated pilot, our ill-fated sizzle reel for the first production company I had. You guys heard that story. And she was working at some pot farm trimming, and I was picking her up. And I'm driving through Eureka, and there's just like weird tweakers everywhere. Because it's trim season, and every weirdo you could possibly imagine is like, you know, tripping out of their minds, looking for work, doing something. and there's this dude. He's shirtless, wearing a pair of shorts, and he's got 2 different pairs of shoes on, and he's pushing a baby stroller. So I can see him from his back. He's pushing his baby stroller with he has like a hiking boot and I don't know, a Converse on one side. He's pushing his baby stroller along as I'm stuck in traffic, slowly like catching up to him. And he's pushing this baby stroller, and the baby stroller hits, the little depression in the sidewalk so that the driveway can go up. It hits this thing and it tips over, and I'm like, oh, baby! And it tips over, and like a dozen car stereos go spilling out across the road. And that, my friends, that is Eureka, California in November every year. Bam. Not my name. Houston, what do you think of Republican new push to eliminate Department of Education? Arizona just did a new universal voucher law. Families who bail pub education get $7,000 per kid. It's garbage. I would basically, you're subsidizing rich people to send their kids to private school, because there's no private school that costs $7,000 a year. Private school is going to cost $20,000 a year or more, and so you're just subsidizing rich people to send their kids to private school. I don't believe in vouchers. I don't believe in charter schools. I think it's public school, or you pay a fortune to go to private school, and you figure out how to pay for it yourself. But every single kid goes to private school, their numbers get counted towards public school to fund the public schools. These voucher systems are designed specifically to end public school education and end the opportunity of kids to obtain a secular education. And they're designed specifically to fund rich people already sending their kids to private school. That's the goal of these things. People are like, oh, it's school choice. You don't need school choice if you make every school a palace. You pay every teacher a fantastic wage and make every school a palace, and you fully fund everything. And the easiest way to fully fund this stuff is to bring universal health care. Like, universal health care is 30% of the budget of public schools. So 30 cents of every dollar is going to pay for the health insurance of employees at these schools. That's 30 cents of every dollar spent at a public school is health insurance. You make public schools, make everything have universal health care, and all of a sudden, you just save $15,000 per public school employee, per student. It's ridiculous how much money you can save. And all of a sudden, like, you look at France or Norway or Switzerland and the United States, and the cost per student for each one is about the same for all these countries. But our performance is way lower in the United States than it is for those other schools elsewhere. And that's because 30 cents of every dollar is not going to students and bettering their education and paying teachers better. It's going to health insurance. And we can save so much money and improve schools so much if we just made universal health care. Also, universal health care will allow us to have the freedom to, do general strikes and push the government and the powers that be to make our lives better. One of the biggest things, people can't do a general strike because they can't afford to lose their health insurance. They're like, oh, I gotta keep going to work and work my shitty job. If we had everyone had the same health care, we could shut this country down and get them to do whatever we wanted. That's why France can go on strike every couple of weeks, because they can afford to do it. They're not going to lose their health insurance. Mapulin, DTCC is above reproach. Is DRS useless? I kind of feel that it is. I mean, they're still going to naked short. And if I DRS or some else DRSs, whatever, GameStop may pull their shares at some point. But I don't see me having anything to do with it. David Morgan, happy birthday. Thank you. Is metamaterial dead cat, or is it just now on sale? I think it's on sale, but I'm talking about metamaterial. I'm not talking about metamaterial. You guys are tricky. You're getting me to talk about it. It's got legs. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. Andrew Stewart, sad boy, been in oil for 10 years. Ask me on Twitter. Talk to him. Talk to the man. He'll let you know what's going on. Monkey Wrench Studios, you deleted your stream because New News has debunked the whole thing with Trump lunging. Don't lie. Love your show, man. Always have, but don't lie to your viewers. Monkey Wrench, look at my Twitter. There's a video posted showing Trump lunging at the driver of the SUV. He is over the driver's seat, reaching at the driver. A Secret Service agent comes next to him and he tries pushing that Secret Service agent away. There's video. It proves exactly what she was saying. So no, that's not why that my charity stream is down. So you're wrong. I'm right. Haha. Okay. Freddy Fredberger. Okay. Nicholas Mainelli. Houston, what do you think of crypto this weekend? Any thoughts? Crypto is going down. He's going down. It's going down. They are... remember, US dollar tether coin is the foundation to the entire crypto market. Most people invested first in US dollar tether coin and used US dollar tether coin to purchase their crypto. 55% of Bitcoin was purchased using US dollar tether coin. It is the connection between crypto and fiat, which is, people complain about fiat all day long, but that's really what they want. They want cold hard cash. They'll say, oh, fiat's evil, but really they're measuring their crypto based on fiat currency. They're selling their crypto for fiat currency. They're using that fiat currency to pay for things. The actors who are doing those crypto.com and Coinbase commercials, they're not getting paid in crypto. They're getting paid in cold hard cash to do those commercials. So if they cut that Ponzi scheme that connects crypto to cash, crypto is going down so much further. I mean, we saw Bitcoin drop to 18 something this week, and that was because several liquidations were happening. Hedge funds are facing liquidations due to their investments in crypto at higher prices. We're back to 2017 prices right now, and I think it has a lot further to go. People don't have the money to buy it, so if you're being liquidated and you've got to sell everything you have, there's no one who has cash to buy that crypto from you. So you're screwed, essentially. So it's got a lot further to go. And this weekend, a lot of people are going to be on vacation, so I don't expect too much, magic to happen one way or the other. Probably for the whole next week. Although there probably will be a panic selling day next week. For the most part, people are on vacation and they're just kind of like going to coast and then worry about it coming back the week after. But yeah. William Morgan says Australian bank collapses with customers told to withdraw funds immediately before it closes all accounts on Tuesday. Yeah, it's a small online bank with 6,000 customers, and they needed a whole bunch of venture capital to keep going for some reason. I don't know how a company that just receives cash from people needs infusions to expand or whatever. But the bank needed a loan and can't get the loan, so they are closing. That's one of those little small fries that are probably tiny little dominoes that leading to big bank closures. But at least there's deposit insurance in Australia, so those folks are insured $250,000 just like in the U.S. Cheers from Ottawa from F1 Sushi. Well, hello. Lemon Monkey, Houston. Do you think global warming will cause a catastrophe before humans fix it? Also, happy birthday. I think it already is causing catastrophes. We are seeing the overdrawing of water in the Southwest, and it's having its worst drought in 800 years. Heat bubbles are happening at faster and longer rates across the world, and places that, might get hot, but not wet bulb hot, where there's no ability for the human body to cool off without air conditioning. Heat waves in India, heat waves in the Persian Gulf, heat waves in Europe are just getting historic, and they're, rather than once every 30 years type thing, they are every single solitary year just wiping people out. We're seeing hurricanes getting stronger and more of them. We ran out of the alphabet last year for hurricanes. Like, we got to Z and we had to start all over again. And we started like having hurricane alpha, beta, gamma, so on. That's not good. And that has to do with what's called the 28-degree thermoclines. So if we do a quick little Google Earth thing here, we will zoom out. We will show the ocean here. Okay, so we can do the Eastern Pacific. So there is, you got the equator going across down here, and the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, and in those tropics, that 40-degree section of Earth, that's the tropics, 46-degree section of Earth. For the most part, that's the 28-degree thermocline. So 28 degrees Celsius water happens in this region at least a few months a year, and down here in the south a few months a year, and that's where your storms form. They form at the higher latitudes above the equator, because the equator is doldrums, so you're not going to get air rising, but you don't get air swirling, because you don't have any Coriolis effect really happening at the equator. But like hurricanes are born off of the coast of Mexico, and sometimes they spin and hit Mexico. Sometimes they travel west and they go up and hit Hawaii. Sometimes they travel west, especially in the fall, like October. They'll travel west, hit the current, come up north, and then hit the jet stream, and then smack into a place like Washington. In Washington, Alaska, Canada, they'll get hurricane-force storms, but they don't call them hurricanes at that point. They're just called post-tropical cyclones, even though there's one storm system that came off of Mexico, made its way across the Pacific, headed north, and then headed east again and smacked into the coast with 125-mile-an-hour winds and so on. In the Atlantic, the storms come from these big linear winds that blow off the high-pressure systems in the Sahara. So Sahara is hot, dry, lots of descending air, and that air has to push out and go somewhere. So it pushes out and pushes a lot of dust and sand off the coast towards like Cape Verde Islands. And that dust works as nucleus for the condensation of water vapor. So you have all this hot water vapor that's coming off of this equatorial region and tropical region, and it binds itself, it condenses on this dust, and then works its way with the trade winds across the Atlantic, and then swirls into hurricanes by the time it gets close to the Caribbean or inside the Caribbean itself or Gulf of Mexico, and then they get hammered with storms. And every once in a while they'll bend and do kind of what they did with the post-tropical cyclone. They'll bend, come up north, follow the Gulf Stream, and smack into like Ireland or Iceland or like Nova Scotia or Labrador, those places. But as that 28-degree thermocline expands and heads further and further north, it used to be that the thermocline was just below the island of Hawaii. So the storms, if they broke north, they would die, and then Hawaii would just get a bunch of rain and not too bad the winds. Or it would come south and zoom up and hit like Kauai and just hammer Kauai. Now we're getting direct hits on the Big Island from full force hurricanes that weren't happening in the past, because this thermocline of 28 degrees is stretching further and further north for longer periods of the year, and meaning this water is getting hotter and hotter, making the storms way more powerful. So we're getting more of them, and they're getting more powerful as they go along. And the same thing's happening in the Western Pacific, where the cyclones that will form off of these southern islands will smack into the Philippines, Taiwan, China, and Japan with more frequency and more power than they did in the past. And cyclones that form in the Indian Ocean are hitting Perth with more frequency. They're jumping up into the Bay of Bengal and hitting Cambodia, Thailand, Bangladesh with a lot more frequency. It's going to get warmer, and a lot of that heat's going to get trapped in the oceans, and those oceans are going to get warmer and warmer, and the trade winds are going to get stronger, and there's going to be more dust blowing off the deserts, creating more pieces for that water vapor to condense around, and they just become these machines of just violent storm after violent storm. So we're going to get way more storms because that energy has to go somewhere. There, that was a long spiel. But Lemon Monkey, did I answer your question? We're screwed. We're going to be facing bigger storms more often, bigger droughts more often, more extreme weather. We'll have like rainier, wet seasons, drier, dry seasons. It'll result in huge growth of things in the spring. All that stuff's going to dry out and catch on fire in the summer. I think personally that unless we set up a whole bunch of carbon capture, like now, we're screwed. It might be it. We'll be at Mad Max in 50 years, and that'll be that. Corey Jones, what up, Houston? The opposite of down, Corey Jones. Okay. Gladio, Martin Shkreli is trolling the AMC community. Is he trolling them? He's saying he's like going to invest in. What are you guys barking about? Chill out, man. Chill. 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 Hey, big dummy. Snoopy, come here. Hey, come here. Come here. Come here. You did the bark first because somebody closed the door and you got him started and now he won't shut up. Yeah. Shut your pie hole, you big dum-dum. Don't put your head in the keyboard. Don't put your head in the keyboard. If you ever accidentally shut down this thing, I'm going to launch you into the moon. Okay. Alright. Scott Paul on heavy buyings in bonds markets. 50 base point swings in 1 week time scale. 10-year up from 3% to 3.5%. Back to 3%. Snoopy! Shush. 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 Just shush. Shush. You big barky doofus. Okay. What was I saying? Oh, Scott Pollan. 10-year up from 3%, 3.5%, back to sub 3% in 1 month time scale. Wild times. Yeah. Where bonds are going bonkers. It's the worst, literally the worst market for bonds, worst year for bonds since 1865. Since the end of the Civil War, it is the worst market for bonds. That's a big deal. We've got Sri Lanka defaulting. We've got Lebanon defaulting. We have probably El Salvador defaulting. They keep buying the dip, and the dip keeps going lower. Dude! Chill out, baby. Sorry, I'm going to go yell at him 1 sec. Snoopy! Hey! Snoopy! Snoopy! Come here. Come on. Get in there. Shut the fuck up and get in there. Get. I was hoping to have this nice breeze, but you idiots keep barking at stuff. Okay. We're just going to cook in this room with the door closed now, because you cannot be trusted. You're just going to yell all over the house. Shush. Shush. Okay. Yeah. Sri Lanka, Lebanon, probably El Salvador, because El Salvador is borrowing at 17% to purchase Bitcoin that has dropped, 60%? So, then they keep buying more, and it keeps dropping more. El Salvador is going to be insolvent soon, and I don't know. The president's probably going to scond with whatever Bitcoin there is, and that's going to be that, because he's a weirdo. Yeah, and Japan, its economy is shrinking real fast right now. China's facing all of its bond problems with commercial bonds and real estate bonds. Those are not getting paid back. We're probably looking at globally this year alone. My guess is upwards of $5 trillion in bonds are going to default across the board. That's a lot. That's a lot to be defaulting. And then we'll start having homes defaulting, home mortgages, which is why mortgage-backed securities are. Yeah, people still get adjustable rate mortgages, and they still reset. And if they're resetting to really high interest rates, as what we're heading to right now, in order to combat inflation, man, it's not going to be good. Not going to be good at all. Okay. Sea loss, is the market being propped up by swaps right now? That's probably a big part of it. A lot of swaps are just going away. I mean, they're not necessarily going away. They're playing hot potato or musical chairs, whatever you want to call it. They're passing this debt around because everyone has too much debt. Everyone has way too much debt, and none of them can pay it back. So they're passing it around, resetting that debt every single time they pass it around. So every 35 days, you pass it on to somebody else, you take their debt, whatever. And at some point, the music's going to stop. And the company that you've been just swapping debt with, all of a sudden will just cease to exist. You're like, oh, I was going to trade debt with you. I'm going to trade debt with this guy. Oh, he already traded his debt. Oh, no, I'm stuck with this all of a sudden. I'm at T35 and they're gone. Yeah, a lot of liability is just going away like that. Yeah. Okay. 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 Daniel Batchelor, Houston, thought of you today. Made my son mow the lawn for the first time ever. Been waiting for this moment all my life. Oh, I wish I had a 13-year-old like go mow my lawn. Oh, we're finally getting to dry season, so hopefully one more mow, and I can coast for the rest of the summer because it'll just turn brown and dry and die for the summer, and that'll be wonderful. But until then, got one more mow I gotta do. I lived in this house. I call it the Charles Mansion for a year, and it was the world's largest 2-bedroom mansion. The place was gigantic. It was way too expensive, but there was no rental homes available, so my roommate and I, we had to get it, and we had a lawn, but no lawnmower. And yard maintenance was our responsibility, so I put out a thing, hey, anyone want to mow my yard, once every 2 weeks for $50 or whatever. And this kid's like, oh, I can do it for you. And he was so he showed up, this huge 15-passenger van, and it was mom, dad, and 12 siblings. And the kid would come out, he'd unload the lawnmower from the back, and he would mow my lawn for an hour, and the whole family would just sit in the van and watch him. And I'd pay him his $50, and he would get back in the van with his family, and they'd drive away. And the mom, I guess, was homeschooling the kids inside the van while the son would go out and mow the lawn. It was so weird. So weird. But yeah, they show up every 2 weeks, all 25 of them in this van, and just watch him mow the lawn for an hour, get his $50 and move on. Houston Wade's hairline. Oh shoot, I just lost Houston Wade's hairline here. Where'd it go? Where'd you go, Houston Wade's hairline? There we go. Everything Girk says goes against your MOAS hypothesis. He's very educated in market mechanics. What makes you believe otherwise? I love Girk. He's an options dude all the way. But I think he's been I think his hopes have been shattered by the fact that the hedge funds have been able to milk this for as long as they have. I'm holding faith that at some point Jesus is going to take the wheel, man, and the hedge fund will not have the power to make any plays anymore. They're going to face liquidation because the banks are facing liquidation. Everyone's facing liquidation at some point because the economy still has, I bet there's still at least 50% of S&P 500 or the Dow to drop before this is over. We still aren't getting the news of the sky is falling. We're getting lots of bad news here and there, but there's no one connecting it all. Connecting the fact that countries are defaulting, that crypto's crashing, the market's crashing, housing's crashing, mortgage-backed securities are crashing, inflation is screaming, World War III is on the horizon. There's still so much bad stuff happening, but no one is making this link to it all being shit's hitting the fan. And so the market has a lot further to go. The market is overinflated still. It's still way too high compared to what earnings are, what revenue is, and the future of this stuff. And I don't think too many hedge funds can survive another big negative year like they did last year. Last year was their plays on shorts biting them in the ass because the stock prices went up. This year it's going to be their assets under management biting them in the ass because the overall market collapsed. And they can hedge all they want against that. But if their wins are still smaller than their losses, they're going to get chewed up. And if their short plays, such as the meme stocks, are still not dropping the way that they want them to, they're toast. And they're going to have to get margin called. They survived the margin calls on January 28th, 2021, because the DTCC didn't do it. The DTCC was like, we'll just ignore it for a day and it'll go away. And it worked. But there's going to come a point where the entire market is so toxic that they cannot ignore it for a day because it's going to be worse by the next day. And if they ignore it again, it's going to be 3 times as bad the day after that. So they really, 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 really are going to lose the ability to do these swaps, to do the naked short selling, because they're not going to have the keys to the car anymore. And that's what I'm holding out for. And I think that's the fundamental difference between Girk and I on this, is that eventually they're going to lose their ability to make plays. And the minute that happens, game on, baby. And Houston Wade's Hairline says, appreciate your show. Thank you for your input. Well, thank you, Houston Wade's Hairline. Michael Harrow, was hoping Be Big would show signs of life or even squeeze so I could buy more GME, but that didn't happen. Do you think it will happen at all, or are we now waiting for a different catalyst? Man, the TYDE dividend was such a dud. Like, I don't think the price is high enough to cause a push 3 months from now when they start defaulting on that. The price is nothing. And if the TYDE dividend isn't worth the $10 a share if they promised it would be when it was delivered, I think the day before it was delivered, it was at $6.30, and when I finally got it, it was at $2.04. So, I think that's, dude, this stupid, I'll do commercials when I damn well want to. They're YouTube. Keeps telling me that I need to do a commercial right now. YouTube's like, do a commercial. No, I don't want to do a commercial. I'll let the people who don't watch it live watch all the commercials. They're the ones who will pay for all this. But yeah. Gladio also says again, Martin Shkreli is trolling the AMC community on Twitter. Do you think Citadel paid him to cause more division? I wouldn't trust Martin Shkreli as far as I could throw him, and I could throw him pretty far, honestly, because he's pretty tiny. But yeah, that dude's a complete sociopath and weirdo, and not to be trusted any way, shape, or form. You know, he can be kind of cruel and funny every once in a while, but he is a terrible human being. Like, he's just not a good person. So, whatever he says, I'm just going to ignore and look elsewhere for it. Okay. Trolley Farm 28 Houston, what is a Citadel plant? Well, why won't you address what that guy said about your court case? Because he's here specifically to stir shit up. That's why. I addressed him on during the last show. He's a piece of shit. And on Twitter, he was saying he loves Ken Griffin and all the politicians he supports, and he supports winners. That dude is totally from Citadel. He's here to stir shit up. That's why I Trolley Farm 28. And if I get another comment from you from this, I'm going to assume that you might be the same guy. Okay. Stetlier, what's the 8K AMC just filed? AMC, SEC. I don't know. I did not see an 8K. Oops. AMC 8K. Mesh performance. 617, there's one. Is there more? Latest proxy, latest 8K. Oh, there was one filed today. Okay, what we got here? Scene, Chrome, bam, done. Turn off the Google Earth, turn on the Chrome. Read HTML me. Okay, current report, AMC Holdings, What are they filing? Indicate, check mark, blah, blah, blah. Other events previously reported. April 2019, putative stockholder class, a derivative complaint. Captioned, Lao versus Dalian Wanda Group. Was filed against certain directors of AMC Holdings. Silver Lake Group, which was one of the big holders. They're out now. Parties, stipulation agreement, settlement. So they did a settlement for this lawsuit. Court scheduled hearing in September. Some other Delaware. Additional information. So it's about some lawsuit that happened. So it's the Silver Lake people suing AMC. Was Silver Lake the biggest owner of AMC at the time, so they're suing themselves? What's going on? All right. So it's agreement of settlement of some kind. So Silver Lake got the convertible bonds due in 2024, 3% interest, something. That's about some complaint alleged among things that transaction was on target for AMC or its public stockholders. Set forth some settlement. No, they're gonna have a. Okay, some considered. Defendant shall cause $17 million cash settlement deposited. So AMC is paying $17 million to Silver Lake, at all. Okay, so that's what it is. The settlement is AMC's paying a good chunk of money for whatever reason to people who used to own them. Okay, well, there you go. If you want to read it yourself, copy that, put there, ka-jam, bam, shabam. All right, in the chat for you. A1 car stereo Houston is so left it's getting hard to watch. A1, I've always been so far left. I haven't changed at all. It's just that world events happen to make it so we got to talk about it more. But, my second show ever was about how we need universal health care. Like, come on, man. What do you think? Where do you think I'm coming from? Drew, seeing so much FUD around GME report and the Gov won't let MOAS happen. That's how they get everyone to sell and be emotional. It's FUD to me, not financial advice. I agree. I mean, GME is going to be launching their big GMErica marketplace, and then they're going to be doing a dividend at some point. We're just, we're along for the ride. It's all we can do. We don't have the ability to pull levers and switch things and make stuff happen. All we have is buy and hold, and holding involves waiting. That's, buy and hold, there's a big parenthesis says, and wait. That's all we can do. Buy, hold, and wait. Heller wants me to rant. Ugh. I want to do a show without ranting today. I'm just not in a ranting mood. Okay. Danny M. FTDs seem high on GME. Any comment? I think the cash value of FTDs at the beginning of June were like $140 million on some days. That's a big chunk. That's a big chunk of change. And we know that those FTDs weren't closed. Those things were definitely swapped out, or they borrowed. They borrowed from someone to cover them, but they didn't close those positions. The best they can do is cover. None of them are closing. If they're closing, the price would be skyrocketing. They're just covering, and they're generating more nakeds by the day, and then going to that debt swap, whirlpool of doom. And FTDs and all these meme stocks are absolutely insane. I really want there to be a law that just outlaws FTDs. If you fail to deliver, you lose your license. That should be the rule. If you sell a stock that doesn't exist, you don't get to sell stock anymore. Your license is over. We liquidate everything you have. Done. Make it so punitive and so terrifying that if anyone sells a stock they don't have, that the entire company that they work for is done. So if you hated your boss and you were at some hedge fund, you would just naked sell a stock, that hedge fund would cease to exist. I want it to be that awful. that brutal that prison terms, you name it. If I were to counterfeit cash and go out and buy stuff with it, I go to prison. Why can you counterfeit a stock? Doesn't make any sense. Why can I like I could generate a bunch of fake cash. You can use my laser printer right here, just print out a bunch of cash, go down to a car dealership, buy a car, and at 35 days be like, whoa, I owe the actual money on this thing. I'm going to take my car, I'm going to swap it with that guy's car. Boom, I got another new car. And that guy got another new car too. We're cool, won't have to worry about anything ever again. And just every 35 days, just swap cars with people. That wouldn't be legal. That would be grand theft, and it would be counterfeiting cash. But these hedge funds can do that. So end it. End it now. Okay. Scott Paul, and mid-July markets will be spicy. I think they will. When we get the official numbers for this quarter two, and they're going to be bad, we'll get a panic day. And then they're going to have to jack up, at some point, interest rates another 75 to 100 base points. And there'll be another panic day. And that bear market's going to keep just pushing down, 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 down. And we still aren't realizing the big sales of what the Fed holds. The Fed's got $7.3 trillion in securities that they're trying to get rid of. And they're doing it really slowly. They're doing $42 billion a month here. And then in September, they're going to make it $90 billion a month. The Fed is losing cash on this because they bought this stuff with their plunge protection team money at absolute peaks in the market, and they're going to be selling it for steep discounts when no one has any money to buy. And so they're going to $7.3 trillion is probably worth $5 trillion right now, and by the time they're done selling it, it'll probably be worth $3 trillion. So the Fed is just going to be compounding the problem as they sell this stuff. Fried Tater wants everyone to have a safe 4th of July weekend. Yep. Someone I follow on Twitter who's a urologist, she reminded everyone not to light off fireworks in your crotch. Apparently she's already had a few cases of that in the old surgery department. So yes, don't be lighting M80s in your crotch. Just don't do that. Bottle rockets, you name it. Just, keep your junk safe. Flight Guy 99, from a geological standpoint, what is the long-term solution to the West Seattle Bridge? Is a tunnel viable, or is a Duwamish Harbor Island too unstable? I don't think a tunnel could go under there. That is really loose soil. If you guys don't know, let's go back to the ye old Google Earth here. Google Earth, boink. This sucker going north. So a couple years ago, the West Seattle Bridge, the West Seattle Bridge collapsed in the 60s. It got hit by a boat and collapsed. So West Seattle here, it's got the Duwamish River cutting it off from the main part of Seattle. So this is all West Seattle, this area. And the West Seattle Bridge is sort of the main way people get from West Seattle to Seattle itself. And in 2020, 2019, this part of the span over the river has just thousands of fractures, cracks, chips, missing pieces. Did an inspection and they're like, holy crap, this bridge is about to collapse. And the plan is to build a superstructure under the bridge, take out all that material, build forms underneath it, and re-pour the concrete with new concrete. But there was also a big problem in that for the last 2 years, there's been an ongoing strike with the concrete truck guys. They just, screw you, we need a new contract, we're not working. And they struck some sort of deal so they can start pouring concrete for this thing. I don't know if it's going to work or if we're going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars trying to fix this bridge, and it's just not going to work or not. But it's been a pain in the ass. Some of my best friends, Monkey Butt's sort of stepmom, my friend Shawnee, she lives in West Seattle, right about there. And that's where Monkey Butt goes when I go on trips. And then my best friends in the entire world live a little bit further south of the junction in this area. And it is a pain in the ass to try and get across the Duwamish. Because look at this. Where can you get across the Duwamish? You got one bridge down here. So you have to come on and merge on with this thing way down here, come back around, and just traffic is a nightmare because there's only really 2 points to leave West Seattle. West Seattle's almost like an island if you want to get to Seattle itself. And then Harbor Island here when it was built, was the largest man-made island in the world. It has since been replaced by the Tokyo Yokohama Airport, which is an island. If we go across the Pacific, go to Tokyo, yay! Okay, that's Philippines. There's Japan. There's Tokyo. All right, Tokyo, Yokohama. This island. Oh shoot, where's the airport? Is that the airport? Yeah, it's the airport. This became the largest island in the world, and it's sinking right now. Because every time the Earth quakes, this thing jiggles and settles out a little bit more. So the airport's sinking here, and they're running into trouble with that. But this island has been replaced by the Palm Jeremiah Islands in the Middle East. Go to Dubai. Here. So, Palm Jeremiah Islands are actually now the biggest man-made islands in the entire world. So anyway, we go back to Seattle. The soil that made the Harbor Island is just way too loose. It's from the regrade projects. So Seattle was built on 7 huge, steep, kind of unwieldy hills, and this was all mud flat, and like all this area was mud flat, and basically buildings were built on posts, and lots of like oyster fishermen and stuff were here. But they took huge chunks of the hills. So Beacon Hill goes into Capitol Hill, or First Hill in this area. They carved out a huge chunk of it to make sort of a road that passes between the two, and they used that to fill in this area. And then there was a hill called Denny Hill, which was a big, giant, steep, awful hill, and they dug out the entire hill. The hill is gone. It no longer exists, and this is now where Amazon is based, in the South Lake Union neighborhood, the Slut neighborhood. And that hill is basically what is now downtown Seattle. So this entire area is all fill from that. The tide used to come in here and swamp everything out, but now it's all like really jiggly fill. So when we have earthquakes, this area of Seattle just keeps, when the earthquake's over, it just keeps moving because it's like jello. And it's really hard to dig through stuff. So we did a tunnel. We took down the viaduct along the waterfront, and they built a tunnel that just goes in right here and pops out right out here. So it's about a mile, and no, right there, right out. Where are you? Or sorry, right out here, at Aurora. And so that goes about a mile under Seattle, and it was very difficult because it's very loose clay, muddy soil, and it just liked getting broken up, and took years and billions of dollars. So trying to do the same thing for West Seattle, I think, is going to be a nightmare. Trying to get under this river, under all this loose soil, just probably not going to be worth it. So now you guys are going to learn more about Seattle than most people who live in Seattle know about Seattle as a result of this show. Billcoin, Houston. Link below. This guy uses facts to home taxes going up 50% in some places. What cities will crash the worst? Home prices, Dallas, Texas, 50%. He has serious, all backed up with checkable facts. Okay. That's okay. People here are complaining about their assessments going way up. The assessments went way up. They're going to spend all that money. All these local municipalities are going to spend that money. And then next year, when the home prices all go down 50%, they're going to be like, oh, what do we do? And they'll be right back to where we were in 2010, when we weren't able to fund projects and maintenance and things like that. Yeah, I think well, I don't know what the solution is, but Texas has some pretty bad property taxes to begin with, because they don't have income tax, and they don't have other taxes. They subsidize everything with property taxes. Washington does the same thing. But we got the naked people here. Cool. Yeah, so it's going to hit us hard. 40-ounce Oracle, Houston. What's the deal with the Supreme Court suddenly banging out a ton of rulings? Why not earlier or during Donald Trump's administration? I think it took them to get to the point where they had the 6-4, 6-3 majority. And for those cases to work their way up through the lower courts before they could finally start being like, we're going to destroy everyone's lives. And that, I think, is kind of where we are now, is that those court cases they've been waiting for have finally filtered up to the Supreme Court level, and now they can make a bunch of terrible decisions for us that are just going to get people killed and ruin regulations. And yeah, they're theocrats. They're 100% theocrats, and we're doomed. Hey, we're doomed. Yay. Okay. How far behind? Hey, holy crap. I'm 50 minutes behind. And I even managed to forget to make the chat public until right before the show. I'm still so far behind. Okay, that was West Seattle Bridge one. Stonkinator, do you have faith in Ryan Cohen and MOAS actually happening? Yes, 100%. LeBeau Luke jumped in Bed Bath & Beyond, bought 5,000 shares yesterday. It is a risky bet, but RC is 150 million in. I mean, the stock price for Bed Bath & Beyond was below $5. So it seems like a screaming deal to me. Seriously, you can buy the company for $500 million and you make $12 billion a year in sales. Oh my gosh, I've been looking for this thing. It's the lens cap to my thing. Why did I put it there? No wonder I couldn't find it. It was in the wrong spot on my desk. That's where you go. So I think Bed Bath & Beyond is going to scream. If my SPY puts do some good for me next week, I might put it into Bed Bath & Beyond calls. Because why not? Get 10 or 20 calls. Let that sucker climb. If it goes to the $80, what Ryan Cohen's thinking, and you buy near at the money calls, you could be looking at, what, $7,000 per one there? That's not too shabby. I could use that. So it might be worth the gamble. Luigi Salazari, Malev or magnetic levitation or hyperloop to replace combustion aviation, if ever. I don't think it will replace it. I think it will be not analogous, but it'll be an also ran with it. They built 22,000 miles of high-speed rail in China, but there's still lots of people flying in planes. Plane travel is not the awful environmental catastrophe people make it out to be. If you're in a full passenger jet, you're doing 75 miles per gallon per passenger in that jet, which is better than people driving alone in their cars. The airline industry produces CO2, and that's a thing. But the production of cell phones, just building a cell phone every year, the manufacture of cell phones produces more carbon than all airline travel. And if you add in the server farms that support the apps and memory and everything else we're using to navigate the internet and use all of our apps on our phone, it's like 3 times what the airline industry does. And everyone has to get a new cell phone every 2 years. An investment in an airplane lasts an airline 30 years. So the manufacturer of airplanes isn't as large a carbon footprint as the manufacturer of 4 billion cell phones a year. But I would like to see more trains. I want to see trains replacing roads all over the place. We should have small passenger rail networks that crisscross this country, that serve local regions, that allow you that hook up with larger train stations so you can do national travel. I think it would be beautiful. I would love to see what Europe, Japan, China have managed to do with rail here in the United States. Sometimes it might take you 2 days to get across the country, even on a high-speed rail. But man, how beautiful and cool would it be? Right? It's going to take you an entire day. Get to the airport several hours early. You check in, you wait, you fly 6 hours. You wait for your bags, whatever. By then, it took an entire day. So yeah, it's one extra day. Travel across the country by rail without having to do all the security stuff, and you get to see the country. And okay, cool. I can deal with that sometimes. That'd be awesome. But instead, right now, it's a week to go across the country because we've got really slow trains and we don't have the infrastructure to build high-speed ones. Instead, all the money that we could use to do bonds to build high-speed rail in the United States went to China, so China could build high-speed rail, and now China's defaulting on all those bonds. So we just lost all that money we could have used here to pay for the same projects. So think about that. Just think about that. Gatsby of Houston. After 2 years listening to AMC pumpers are stopped. I just dislike. Trolley Farm 28 charter schools are great. I know the Chicagoland area parents have to enter a lottery to avoid public schools. The funny part is that property taxes are the highest in the country in that area. Charter schools, as a whole, perform worse than public schools. Like, about 50% of public schools have a passing rating, and like 47% of charter schools have a passing rating. You may have an outlier here and there that is an amazing charter school, but most charter schools are garbage. They're garbage because they're for profit. They're trying to generate a profit off of the same money that public schools are losing money on. And they do that by not providing health insurance for their teachers, paying them less, and then pocketing that cash as profit later. And they will cut corners wherever they can. Yeah, there's a few that are nonprofit that do a commendable job. But there's also ones in Chicago, like there's one in Chicago that has a 100% graduation rate. And they tout the 100% graduation rate and the 100% rate of their graduates going off to college. That's because if someone didn't apply to college or didn't get into a college, they expel them before graduation. So they can claim that 100% of them are going off to college. So you have a bunch of students that might not be ready for college, or they might, want to travel the world or do something else with their lives. But if they don't get into college, they'll get expelled from that charter school. So the charter school can juke the stats and claim that 100% of their students go off to college. That's because they, shit canned 50 of their students that year who didn't get into college. That is not actually being a good school. That's being a poor school. You have to prepare students for life, whether they're going to go to college or not. And you shouldn't require them to go to college in order to graduate and get their degree, because now you've just ruined a life. You just said, hey, this kid, not only was he not going to college, he's not going to get a high school diploma from us. He's going to have to go get a GED or head somewhere else. And we just destroyed his life because he didn't feel like going to college this year. And that's what happens with a lot of those schools. Scott Paul, playing softball. Happy holiday. I'm supposed to be playing the baseball game, 4th of July game, so I'm looking forward to it. I have no idea what my body can do post-COVID. If I get a hit, I might just die on my way to first base. We'll find out. But yeah. Michael Harrow, Houston, what's your choice for July 4th, hot dogs or hamburgers? I usually have at least one of each, but if a gun to my head, probably hamburger, because you can, cheese and pickles on a burger are just so delicious. Two open here, morning from New Zealand. Chalk carving by World War II soldiers. Ooh. Okay, we're in the tropics. We are... Where? Wait, no, -1. No, this is Europe. Sorry, not tropics. Going to Europe. Control V, bam. Where are we going? Where are we going? Going to Europe? Going to England? Yeah. Okay. New Zealand, the Kiwi? That's awesome. But for Kiwi, Sling Camp. Let's read about this guy for a second. Bulford. Full article. Over Kiwi, large depiction of Kiwi carved in the chalk on Beacon Hill, above the military town of Bulford and Salisbury Plain in Wiltshire, England. It was created in 1919. So World War I soldiers. Awesome. It said World War II they're open to. This says World War I, so, But New Zealand Expeditionary Force who were awaiting reputation following the end of the First World War. It's one of the few hill figures in Wiltshire to be neither a white horse nor a military badge. It's a pretty good looking Kiwi. I'll be honest. That looks like a Kiwi, for sure. Keep that, and they got it all fenced off so that it, remains cool looking. All right. Here it was back in the day. That looks pretty cool. I approve of that. I like that. Way to go, you Kiwis. Make that sucker look good. All right, I dig it. That's a good spot. That's a good spot indeed. So if we turn this sucker, so we look at the Kiwi better. There we go. So this must have been the camp here. So now it looks like maybe the camp turned into development, or maybe that's a development post-camp. Got a farm field. Cool. That's real cool. I dig it. I dig it. That's a good one. That's a good one. Project Sound, if BTC goes under 10K, I can imagine anyone would buy it until it stays above 20K for a year. I mean, a lot of people keep thinking they're buying the dip. I mean, El Salvador keeps thinking they're buying. They thought they were buying the dip at 30,000. Now it's at 18. They're like, oh, I bought the dip at 18. And so the dip keeps getting lower and lower and lower and lower and lower. I think that, you know, I might be tempted to buy some if it drops to like 3,000. Right? I think it can go below 10 at this rate, at the rate it's dropping, because every single solitary market maker is getting obliterated. Every exchange is getting obliterated. So many Ponzi schemes are showing up. These like, you know, oh, if you just stake your coins with us, you'll earn 20% interest. And these folks are like, okay. And it was a complete Ponzi scheme. We're seeing lots of arrests and charges and warrants going out for the arrested people involved. I think that the decentralization, everyone talks about, oh, you know, it's decentralized, it's safe money, is showing exactly what the lack of regulation results in, which is crime. And we're just facing lots of crime right now surrounding these things. And some people may have gone into it not thinking they're gonna be doing crime. Thought, oh, well, I can do 20% annuities or interest rates for these guys, and we can do this whole business model, and not realizing that they were just starting up a Ponzi scheme. And when they got into trouble, they're like, oh crap, got to go full bore on this Ponzi scheme, and they're just committing crimes. The folks who are going to get away with it are the ones who registered their companies in probably little Caribbean island nations, and live not in those Caribbean island nations. They're probably the ones who are going to get away with it, and there's nothing anyone's going to be able to do about it. Voyager suspends trading, deposits withdrawals, and loyalty rewards. There you go. Oh, Marvin G's got a spot for us. This is tropical. Tropical, where we are. Central America? Where are you taking me? Shabam. Shaboom. Oops, I gotta turn this on. Central America. We are at a volcano. Where are we? That looks like a volcano. That looks like a volcano that's quite active. Volcan de Fuego. This is the volcano of fire. Where am I? Nicaragua? Guatemala. That looks like a nice steep volcano. Look at that sucker. Oh, there's two of them. Little twins. Probably got the same magma chamber. So that's Volcan de Acetenago. But this one looks much more active. Got a little cinder cone caldera. Got quite the cinder flows and pahoehoe flows coming off. A lot of basalt in that volcano, from the looks of it. But it's tons of volcanoes along here. So many. Any little towns in the flow of this sucker? Oh, I get El Rodeo and El Zapote. Lahar flows will go down here. So if you're in these houses, you might be in trouble. Looks like Lahar's spun off here as well. Wiped out those towns in the past. These big old Lahar flows come through here. So this farm field gets destroyed every once in a while. These ones too. You can see where these Lahars come down. Not too much on the backside. But the neighboring volcano hasn't erupted. This is the active one. This one has not erupted in a long time. Cool stuff. I dig it. I dig it. Scrolling. Howie Frog, is there technology that can manipulate weather patterns? Yep. China is said to involve in it. Seeding silver nitrate into clouds can make them rain. Dubai in UAE has been doing a thing in the summertime where they get this like high marine cloud layers. It'll be hot as hell in Dubai, and they send up drones, I guess, with wires between them, and they do huge electrical charges between the drones, and it forces the clouds to drop rain. And they've been doing stuff like that to get to rain and cool off in Dubai in the summer. Let me see if I can find something. Rain, drones, electricity, Dubai. Yeah, Dubai artificially creating. Well, it's gonna be YouTube. How Dubai is using drones to make rain and fight extreme temperatures. So this is better. Go there. Turn off that. Okay. So they send drones up. They do these like crazy electrical charges through the sky, and it forces the clouds to drop rain. And they get it to drop rain in the summertime to combat high temperatures. Yeah. So using drones that fly towards the clouds, discharge electrical charges, produce rain. And it just causes like these downpours, and everything cools off by 10, 15 degrees. Cloud seeding, yes. So there's technology out there to do it. The neighbors might not like it because it might be stealing rain from them. But Dubai doesn't care. What do you want, you big dumb dork? Can I open the door? Are you going to be an idiot and yell at things if I open the door? Because it is getting warm in here. I could use... Sorry, the fan's going to be making noise again. But my goodness, this room is really warm right now. Alright, Trolley Farm. You get to go away now. Bye. Okay. No. Oh. Black Udon. Have you heard of the Hugo Awards Sci-fi 19... Oh, Jesus Christ. I just opened the door, dog. And you just are just screaming and yelling. Snoopy! Shut the front door, dude. Shut up. No, it's 9,000 degrees. I don't want a giant warm dog breathing air on my belly. I know you like yelling at things, but I just want to throttle you when you do. No one likes it. You're the only person who enjoys it. Everyone else just cannot stand it. Okay. We're talking about, Hugo Award Sci-fi 1984, World at War, Lovecraft book series, Remembrance of the Earth, passed by Cixin Liu. I've read Lovecraft. I've read 1984. Worlds at War. I don't know if I've read that. Book series Remembrance of Earth, passed by Cixin Liu. No, I've not done Remembrance of Earth's Past by Cixin Liu. I'm gonna put that. Remembrance of Earth's Past. Add it to the things I'll read someday. Dude, your head is so warm. Remember... Dude, don't hit my head while I'm writing. You are just a problem maker. Of Earth Past. Okay. By Cixin Liu. Okay. I have not read that one, Black Udon. But, oh, your hot breath is just on my balls and it's so warm. Stop. Alright. Quit putting your head on my lap. It's too warm for that big dog. It's too warm. Go over here. Come on. Over there. Over there. Over there. Come on. Over there. No, I know you won't put your head on my lap. But it's so warm. Your head is just 1,000 degrees. Just go down there. No, go down there. Swamps, I keep forgetting my password, but I'll super chat soon. Sure, whatever, Christopher, you can... Whatever, man. Okay. Wildcat Strike, Houston. Do the Twins have a chance? Or should I just start cursing the Yankees? Thanks. I haven't been. Oops. I have not been paying attention to anything outside the Mariners at the moment. So. Okay. I mean, the Twins are top. Cleveland's close behind. Mariners are still almost the basement behind the Athletics. Let's see here. Wild card wise, they would get a spot in the wild card even if they drop below Cleveland. I think Twins got a chance. Why not? I mean, playing mediocre ball heading into the 4th of July weekend here, but it's better than the Mariners. The Mariners the last few games have done much more winning. But the Astros are pulling ahead. The Cheaters are pulling ahead again in Houston there. But yeah, no. It's always fun to watch a race, even if your team isn't winning. But yeah, the Yankees are just crushing it right now. They're winning almost a quarter of their games. It's always disgusting. I hate it so much. And there's no one else even coming close to how dominant the Yankees are right now. LeBeau Luke, it's not if El Salvador was a rich country at first, spending money on upcoming worthless Bitcoin is just nonsense. Yeah, if they had spent those like tens of millions of dollars on infrastructure in their country, rather than hoarding coins that are losing value and then paying 17% interest on fiat currency for the privilege of doing it, then El Salvador had something to do. But El Salvador has like the highest murder rate in the Western Hemisphere. They are overrun with gangs, MS-13 gangs, you name it. They're not benefiting from U.S. deportation policies where we'll like capture really bad gang members and we'll just deport them out of the country, and they end up in El Salvador where there's no system in place to deal with those guys, and those guys just run rampant. The waterfront in San Salvador is nice. There's some nice touristy areas, but there's a reason why a lot of people are fleeing the country, and it's in purchasing Bitcoin isn't helping El Salvador keep those people from fleeing the country. They have a lot of crime that they're dealing with. Okay. Jerry Diamond, the first day of recession. Yep, we are in it. We are in a full-on recession right now, I believe. And, of course, the chat just reset again. Okay, where was that? It was the cherry. It was right there. Okay. Hoshi Gaming. Do you have any way I can see an ENT doc? My insurance doesn't have docs in a 2-hour radius, and they want me to snail mail them in order to talk. Oh, man. That's brutal. Dude. I don't know how you do it other than traveling to them. Maybe you can do a telemedicine appointment. But when you're doing something like ENT, let's see here. Yeah, I mean, if you need a doctor who's a surgery specialist, such as an ENT, you're going to have to go see him. Telemedicine might be able to set up, like, hey, this is what's wrong with me, but they're probably going to have to do MRI or CAT scan or x-rays. Oh, my gosh. Snoopy! Stop it. Stop barking. I want this door to be open because it's so warm in this room right now. But yeah, you may have to just take the day and go travel to somebody. Where are you located? Like what area? What city would you be near? Have something to look at. But you know, if you're gonna need like head or neck surgery, you're not gonna be able to do it telemedicine. Snail mail letter isn't gonna work for it. You have to just give them a call and go to them, I think. Flight 99. Are the meme stocks all part of the plan to get more of our stimulus cash and it backfired? No FUD, go Mariners. I mean, if you're into conspiracies, that'd be a pretty good conspiracy, but I think it backfired. For sure, if it was their plan. Okay. Jerry Diamond, how did Houston say GMErica is dropping the 14th? How does Houston know what GMErica is? Did I miss the DD on GMErica or a company say something? There was quite a bit of DD that dropped this week. One is that the GMErica wallet, the GME wallet that's going to be operating liquidity for the entire marketplace, just got 1 point something billion immutable X coins to provide the liquidity for that market. The other is there was an announcement by one of their partners saying it was going to launch the 14th, and then they went, oh, and they took it back and said soon. And GameStop themselves said it would happen in the second quarter, and the second quarter ends on July 31st. So, sometime in the next month, the GME marketplace is launching, and that's what we're waiting for. Okay. Brandon Pettigrew, we haven't had a flash crash yet. We're probably going to have one of those at some point. There's going to be something that's going to be just such awful news that no one is going to be able to ignore it, and they're all going to go, oh, the earth is, the sky is falling, and they're all going to panic, and there's going to be a massive sell-off. We're going to flash crash, and they're going to stop trading, and they're going to be like, oh, and the next day it'll go green because everyone's like, dead cat. I bet it's going to keep bear marketing its way down. Why does E-Trade show TYDE was $18 back in May? I don't know. My thing said it was $6.30 before I got the stock, and when I got the stock, it was $2.04. So, meh. How I Met Your Moas Houston, the stock you do not talk about. Changes filing in Nevada from Oilco to NextBridge Hydrocarbon. Filing was done 6/30/2022 on the Secretary of State website. Interesting. Okay. So I wonder what we're going to get, something that's like NXH or something. That stock going to become that? Skrelly's out to realize the second part was 15 minutes. But that boy wants his Wu-Tang album back. Okay. Howie Frog, if we move to a one world currency, would my 16 million Vietnamese dong make me a millionaire? Well, aren't you already a millionaire in Vietnam? There's a millionaire 16 times over in Vietnam, so yeah. What is the Vietnamese dong worth? So if I have 16 million. 1, 2, 3. So $686 US. Hey, that's gotta be a couple months' rent in Vietnam, so that's pretty good. All right. I don't know what argument's happening here with Hector and everybody. I missed that part. Samaj Vaughn, Houston, I'm looking for some advice. Single 30-year-old guy with no debt, no real obligations, wanting to make a career change, thinking about going back to school, not sure what to study, thanks in advance. Well, I mean, if you're looking at going back to school, I always say major in whatever you find as a passion. People who major in things specifically to make money usually hate what they do. They might make money for a while, but they really don't. They hate their lives. Study what you want to study, become proficient in that, and have the joy of becoming an expert in what you love. That's my suggestion. So figure out what you love. Do you love music? Do you love art? Do you love business? Do you love sciences? Find something that you're like, I want to do this, or I want to at least learn this. And you know what? You can study what you love and still end up going into a different career. I had an ex-girlfriend who was a philosophy major in college. She went into the .com world as some sort of tech salesperson, makes a fortune. Another friend who was a music major, an amazing jazz singer, got into television and is now producing TV shows that you watch all the time on your TV. And she had no previous television experience. She just happened to fall into that, and now it's her career. So, you know, study what you love. Wherever you end up after that, it's just magic of living, man. That's my advice. Dylan Miller, my transmission went out today. This week is going to be boring. Oh man. William Loback, Houston, what's your take on credible UFO sightings such as the Phoenix Lights? Phoenix Lights, those are the ones that was the big triangle of lights that slowly went over the southwest. I can't explain it. People are trying to explain it as if they were like those little Japanese lantern balloon things, but that definitely was moving way different way than that, slowly and deliberately. I would love to see something like that now, but everyone, you know, camcorders all have infrared things on them now. Like, I want to see these videos in multiple spectrums of light. I want to see infrared. I want to see UV. I want to see visible. I want to know what this stuff is when we film that stuff. Peter Joy, can I sell a house I don't own? I mean, it's no different than selling stock you don't own, right? So you can make that argument. I don't recommend it, but you certainly could. Bam! Big ass Mexican. Yeah, they make good money in the oil field, but you're going to work for every bit of it. Depends on what you do. If you got connections, get on a flowback crew. I was hearing about... who was telling me about this? Well, it's friend of a friend situations. And a lot of the oil that gets drilled out has a lot of groundwater mixed in, and it goes into a separate tank. It's just a pain in the ass, and they got to pay for it to get hauled away. And this guy was down in West Texas, and he started a business, you know, a big tanker truck, and it sucked this oil that had a lot of water in it away, and they would send it to a place, and it would get dumped or taken care of, whatever. And they thought, you know what? Maybe we can get legit oil out of this. And they set up their own distillation process, and they take this oil, they put it in a distillation process, and they sell it for a bunch of money when it's done getting cleaned up, getting all the water out. And now they get the oil for free. They have this huge system set up in West Texas, and they just go to all the oil wells, take away the oil that the oil company doesn't want to deal with, they process it, and they get the oil for free, and they sell it for now $115 a barrel, or whatever the price is, and they're making a fortune off of it. Monkey butt, where are you going? Too warm on the ottoman? Gotta go on the carpet now? I totally get it, man. Crooks and Suits, produced by Crooks and Suits. Yep. There was a great letter to the editor in, I think, in a London paper a couple years ago, and there was talk about like banning hijabs or something for women. And this guy's like, no woman in a hijab has ever done anything to me. Anyone who's ever done anything cruel to me has been a man in a suit. You know, a man in a suit has made laws that have targeted me. A man in a suit has foreclosed on my home. A man in a suit has every bad thing that's ever happened in my life was done by a man in a suit. So we should probably, if we're gonna ban anything, it shouldn't be hijabs. It should be men in suits. Because they look respectable, they can do whatever they want to you. That's kind of man in a suit mentality. Okay. Peter Joy, let's form our own house hedge fund and sell houses. Yeah, we could just sell in bulk. We could just, because have you guys noticed the reports coming out about the housing market? That you've got these companies that all own like hundreds of thousands of houses each, and they're essentially hedge funds, and they buy houses in bulk, and then they sell them to each other every couple of years, and they manage all the rental properties. I bet you could get one good solid sale to one of these groups for 10,000 houses or something, collect just a fortune, and then just disappear. And it would take them probably a year to figure out that those houses didn't exist. Because it's such a bureaucratic nightmare trying to deal with that many homes and property managers in different states and everything. I bet there's someone out there who's going to make one hell of a scam. Sell 10,000 houses that don't exist to some hedge fund, and then just walk away into the sunset. You set up a little Cayman Islands LLC through a Cayman Islands account, total shell company thing. You claim you have 10,000 houses. You strike up some sort of deal. Boom, done. Bob's your uncle, and you're out. Works for me. Squamps. Whoa, who's this naked Tinder person? I should give them my credit card. Hot boys and girls. Tinder overpriced. Isn't Tinder free? So how is it overpriced? Alright, whatever. Why does infrastructure suck so much? Because we aren't willing to pay for good infrastructure. We don't have any ability at any governmental level to maintain infrastructure, so it's constantly paying contracts to companies that half-ass the job because they're lowest bidders, and that's where we are. Okay. Bye, Jerry Diamond. I mean, Jerry Diamond says he hates Trump, but like he's constantly tagging me things in pro-Trump and anti-vax stuff all the time. So, bye, Jerry. See you later. Okay. How doomed is Toronto? Weather-wise? Toronto is probably in a better spot than most places for climate change. Like them, Detroit, Windsor, Montreal, they're all going to do fairly well. They'll crappier, wetter, warmer winters, but their summers aren't going to be absolutely unbearable like places further south. The snowboard wants me to make a frequently asked questions section because I get asked the same question like every show, but no one's gonna read frequently asked questions. What's gonna happen is I'll make frequently asked questions. I'll put it in the description or something, and then people will jump in, ask the same questions. So rather than me answering the question calmly, I'll be like, "Rate the frequently asked questions," and then I'm just gonna freak out. I think that's what's gonna happen. Okay. Houston, you ever read about the boson understanding? Boson understanding? No. Boson understanding? Bosons understand us? Higgs boson. No, I want to about the Higgs boson. I know about the Higgs boson. I don't know what boson understanding is there, Projet, so I don't know. Now the Higgs boson, that's mass. I don't know what boson understanding is. Unless you're writing Boston understanding, it's just written without the T. I don't know what Boston understanding is either. LeBeau Luke, those naked people could at least give to charity. Exactly. If they're going to come on my charity shows, you could at least donate to charity and pop up your naked stuff. Right? A-Rod Money, trains are not financially feasible. Look at Amtrak as a failed project or the bullet train. Trains are completely feasible. The problem is that we don't run them properly. Every other nation has better trains than we have. Cheaper trains, easier to operate, serve more neighborhoods. Amtrak is a failed system because they don't have the ability to create new lines. They don't have the finances available to do this stuff. Trains should not be for profit. Trains should be a public service. The bus lines aren't for profit. Subway systems aren't for profit. Their entire goal is to move people and goods around, and that is part of what makes an economy great. If you want to define an economy is the movement of goods, people, services, information, capital. Moving those things around, that is an economy. So if you do not have the ability to easily move that stuff around, you're going to hinder your economy, which is why infrastructure is so important. Why access to high-speed internet is great. Why educating the public is great. Why building ports and trains and airports and public utilities, like getting everyone electricity and phones and TV service and all that stuff is all super important, because that is the transmission of information, the transmission of capital, the transmission of goods and services and everything else. So you have to think of this public infrastructure not as a for-profit system, but as a system to make the ease of the travel, the transmission of those basic steps of the economy more feasible and easy. That's why we need better train service than just what Amtrak has. And it needs to be cheaper, it needs to be more abundant, and it needs to be everywhere. But we had it everywhere, but Firestone and General Motors bought it all up and closed it in the 1920s. And they paid a $5,000 fine for doing that. So a lot of the subway systems and trolley systems we had that went to the suburbs and lots of metro areas all got bought, closed, and paved over for roads. And they got a $5,000 antitrust fine for basically destroying the entire rail network in the United States. There are still subway tunnels in Los Angeles owned by General Motors. And when the Obama administration had to seize GM and Chrysler to keep them from going under, I really wanted part of that to be the Obama administration realizing, hey, we can just give the titles for all the subway tunnels in Los Angeles to the city of Los Angeles. They can own it all again. And they can expand their subway system from there much cheaper, because the tunnels already exist. All I have to do is retrofit them and go from there. But no one was forward-thinking enough in that group. And to this day, Firestone and GM still own all the deeds to those underground lines. 7 cents? Yeah, it's a 7-year-old cell phone. Man, my phone from 2 years ago, like, you know, like you're up at the top, your notifications are up here, and you kind of pull the notifications bar down. The top like 1/4 inch of my screen no longer worked for touching, and so I could never like open a notification or close them or whatever, or check the weather. It was awful, and I had to get a new phone. So that phone was only 2 years old, and that 2 years just burp, that part of the screen was no longer touchable. YouTube, quit telling me to insert an ad. I'll insert an ad when I feel like it, and I don't feel like ever doing that. So, no. Did you hear that UCLA and USC are leaving the Pac-12 for a different conference? Yeah, they're going to the Big Ten. That's just the dumbest thing. Like, if UCLA and USC can't finish the top of the Pac-10 or Pac-12, what do you think they're going to do in the Big Ten? Lose there, only in colder, more awful 8 a.m. kickoffs? Like, I don't know why is playing their entire schedule in like Pennsylvania and New Hampshire what they want to do, and not play on the West Coast where it doesn't take more than 2 hours to get anywhere. It seems like a really, really dumb idea to play their entire conference like on the East Coast. Yeah. Okay. David Morgan, they're building a bullet train on the East Coast that stops at Universal Studios, but not Disney. Well, Disney should have gotten in there. Problem with Hyperloops is that, like, Elon Musk talked about this vacuum chamber Hyperloop. It's going to get you from Los Angeles to DC in 40 minutes at 4,000 miles an hour. And what ended up being was a single lane tunnel for cars. And that is not at all going to help people to go 35 miles an hour in their Tesla in a single lane tunnel without any fire escapes, egresses, or fire suppression. And then one of those batteries is going to catch on fire, and then everyone's just going to die in that tunnel. No, having like a vacuum tube system that goes 4,000 miles an hour, that'd be pretty rad, pretty revolutionary. Creating another car tunnel that takes you through downtown Los Angeles at 35 miles an hour. Woo! Yay! Prontal, Houston. Which Hawaii island is your favorite? Thank you. Your channel is one of the best out there, and always it makes my day. Man. Okay, so I've been to the big four, big islands where I went to school. Been to Maui, Oahu, and Kauai. The beaches in Kauai, hands down, the best. If you're going for beaches, you want Kauai because there's like 100 different beaches, and they're not very packed, and the surf's great, and the water's warm. So if you want like a nice, quiet, romantic beach time with your partner, Kauai is the place to go. Outside of that, not too much else to do in Kauai. There's a couple of cool spots, like go play in a river and jump off some cliffs and stuff. You're not going to get nightclubs, dining, if you want the nightclubs and the partying, Oahu's the way to go. If you want all the climate stuff, Maui and the Big Island. The Big Island has 9 of 11 possible climate zones. You've got temperate forests, tropical rainforests. You have Arctic tundra, desert, you name it. It's there. It's very dramatic. Not very many beaches though. There's like 5 beaches on the entire island because it's very new. So there hasn't been too much time for erosion and beach creation. So the beaches are going to be much more packed. What few there are. Although there are a couple that are off-road beaches. If you've got a rental Jeep or something you can get to, there'll be a lot less people at those. But yeah, that's kind of the way it rolls. Nature-wise, I think there's more to do in the Big Island. Party-wise, there's more to do in Oahu. And beach-wise, there's more to do on Kauai. So, pick which one you like the most. That's the way to go. Michael Harrow, Houston, would you ever consider doing your own fireworks show with your own self-made fireworks? This is how Houston blew up his garage. No. I'm not going to build a bunch of bombs in my garage. No. I live right next to the reservation. There are just boatloads of fireworks available. If I wanted to light them off, I could go over there and get tons of them. And if you do it last minute, late at night, sometimes certain fireworks owners are a little inebriated at like 11 o'clock at night, and you get some screaming deals. But man, Wildcat Strike, did you ever get a chance to watch Requiem for American Dream? I know it's long and you're busy. No, I have not watched Requiem for American Dream yet. I haven't watched that yet. There's a lot on the watch and read list that I just need to get to. I'm teaching summer school until the 16th. Is that the last field trip? Yeah, so I'm teaching summer school until the 16th. Last field trip. I should have more free time for like 2 months to do things. Although I am doing traveling to Canada quite a bit over the next month as well. So, I don't know. We'll see. I'll have some airline time to fly to Toronto and back. And we'll get some stuff done. Rich Woodson of MOAS was thwarted in January 21 due to margin requirements being waived. Excuse me. What's it to say will happen again? Because they could waive those margins for one day and know that the next day would be totally fine. But in this bear market, you waive it for one day and it's going to be worse the next day. So there's no like ignoring the phone for a day on that one. We're in a bear market. Things are crashing. Stuff is getting worse. Assets under management are shrinking at 30-40% right now. So they aren't going to be able to ignore it for a day. It's gonna come down to some serious, like, well, the world's ending. We're gonna have to do some margin calls. Oh, and reset again. Okay, where was I? Past that one. Okay, there we were. Okay. So I've got 17 minutes to go. 17 minutes, monkey. 17 minutes to go. Okay. Wait, I'm already past 2 hours? I started at 2 o'clock, didn't I? Holy crap. I'm well past. We'll do a 2.5 hour show today because I have a voice. My voice is back to normal. I'm not coughing. I'm not stuffed up. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. We'll go for another. Let's tack on an extra 16 minutes today. Let's do that. Clayton Bruin, El Salvador's police kill civilians at about the same rate as here in the U.S. We're sandwiched between El Salvador and Ethiopia in that ranking scale. Yay! Yes! Woo! Okay. I'm missing something here. David Graeber, rest in peace, you genius. David Graeber passed away? Oh no, he passed away a couple years ago. I didn't know that. September. I don't know he passed away already. Maybe I read that and my brain just... Huh. Alright. Okay. Molly McWoolhead, does squirting the dog with water help? I don't think this dog cares about water. I think it squirt him and be like, hey, squirt me with water. Bark, 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 bark. Okay. Okay. We're good in doom porn for the next 5 years. Pretty much. Alright, gotta scroll. Toronto is south of Seattle. It is south of Seattle. But Toronto is also at higher altitude, so that they don't have to worry about ocean inundation, which Seattle's going to have to worry about. We're going to get a lot of stuff coming in. Peak says there's regex triggers for bot commands that can send out automated explanations, Houston, like chat bot specifically for moderation. Check out FOSBot for frequently asked questions. FOSBot. Okay. So if someone asks, when MOAS? I'll just say, we don't know. FOSBot. Okay. All right. Noted. Thank you, Peak. Oh, Higgs boson mass understanding. Ah, okay. Where'd that go? The Higgs boson's heavier than we thought. All right, I'm going to read that one. All right, I'm going to read that one up there, Protege-san. Thank you for sending it my way. Working class really ought to seize that subway property back. I agree with you. 100%. Are we at the bottom? Did I make it? Did I catch up? I'm almost caught up here. Now I'm only like 10 minutes behind, so woohoo. Willie McWoolhead, TV deals the reason for the USC and UCLA wanting to move. Same reason Texas and Oklahoma are going to SEC. And the players aren't going to see a dime of it, are they? That's one silly thing. Like, you know, you played D1 sports, they'll make a video game using your likeness, and you don't get any of that money. They'll sell $500 million in tickets, you don't get any of that money. Oh, you got yourself a free education? Cool. Pay me. You made millions off of me. Oklahoma's talking about paying their players at some point. Bringing the most. Feber, Zio, GME. Also, do you know any cool cryptic volcanoes or crypto volcanoes off the top of your head? There's quite a few. I mean, some of the one people always sending me to all the time is the Eye of Africa. That's a crypto volcano. Big Bend National Park, crypto volcano. All of the kimberlite pipes throughout the Midwest up into Canada, those are all crypto volcanic structures. Ones where you can get really cool things like Opal Mountain in Southern California. That's a really cool one. Plus, there's like a place called Inscription Canyon where there's 12,000 petroglyphs carved into the cliffs. So you can get opals and look at a cool ancient volcano and see a bunch of petroglyphs. Those are pretty rad. South of the Tonopah bombing range in Nevada is a whole series of cryptovolcanoes. There's a really cool one in Arizona that's about 70 million years old, where it was next to the canyon wall of the Grand Canyon. It erupted, flowed into the Grand Canyon, dammed off the Grand Canyon, and then eventually the Grand Canyon broke through it and flooded. The Colorado River broke through and flooded. What other cool ones are there? The flood basalts throughout the Columbia Plateau that lead into like Craters of the Moon National Park in Idaho. That place is awesome. Lava Tubes National Park near Lassen is really cool. What else? What other cool ones off the top of my head? In the German Rhineland, there's a bunch of cool pothole lakes that are all calderas to an ancient volcanic system. Those are pretty rad. Right off the top of my head, those are the ones I think of off the top of my head. Fabrizio. Is that right? Fabrizio. I'm going to say that wrong. I have to like squint and read that. Tether market cap slowly shrinking. Yep. Ever so slightly detethering and going down, down, down. It's going to crash hard eventually. Okay. BTP brand, the whole crypto market as a whole is under 1 trillion market cap all of a sudden. So we've erased, what, $2 trillion from crypto? That's a lot of money to disappear. A lot of those 4%ers, the 4% of people who weren't working last fall, claiming that they did so because of their crypto gains, I bet a lot of those people return to the workforce. Good, because restaurants are hiring. They could use you. John B., don't ever try to make your own fireworks. Ask me how I know. Yeah, I'm not going to make bootleg fireworks. That's not going to happen. Let's just say under 50 pounds of tannerite, you're good. All right, Requiem for American Dreams worth a watch. Okay, we'll get there. Doesn't RCF calls expire January 2023? Yep. I think he's planning on Bed Bath & Beyond going bonkers before then. Thoughts on meme stocks covered calls? Been paying the bills when I might otherwise liquidate my position with them. I think I'm done with that for the foreseeable future. Yeah, I mean, I have no interest. A lot of folks got into trouble doing covered calls with volatile stocks because they made the calls too close to in the money and then lost all their shares. And they had to wait weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks to buy them all back. But if you're selling way out of the money weeklies, you can make pennies here and there and catch up. Moki123G, if you like weather stuff, look up Pecos Hank on YouTube. Okay. All right. Pecos Hank. All right. Fabrizito, I have $45 calls for August 19th. Might be a little soon. Just a little soon. Yeah. Other people chiming in. Pecos Hank. Cool. All right. William Morgan, June 1st, 2022. Ladies, due to inflation, 6 inches is now 9 inches. Adjust accordingly. All right. TP wants to answer a Meta show question. No. Will not answer. They're not going bankrupt. They got cash. So that's all. I'll say that much. Houston, is that a real Hawaiian shirt? This one? I wonder if this one has a tag. Does that have a tag? It does. What does that tag say? Oh, which side you go? Go on this side. I can't read from here. It might be. Can't remember this one. So this is a plastic one for sure. It's not a silk Hawaiian shirt, but I dig it. It's a little made for someone a little more portly than I am, but I like the patterns. And patterns will get me. Okay, I'm caught up. I'm caught up in the chat. I'm at 4:24 p.m. there now. We're all caught up. I got nothing. I went for an extra 24 minutes today. I'm very warm. The dog barked a lot. I might do a Twitch stream tonight, probably like around 10 p.m. my time, so a late one. So if you are European, it'll be your morning time for Saturday. I'll probably do a Twitch stream late tonight. There's no Houston size. It's either tighter bag. Yep, that's pretty much it. What Moas money is going to be to tailor every single shirt to actually fit me the way it should fit me, and it'll just look just dynamite everywhere I go. But yeah, that might be it for the day. Dogs have anything to answer? You guys are sweaty blobs as well. Enjoy your holiday weekend. I'll see you tonight for some Twitch late at night, and otherwise, probably won't do a 4th of July show because it's a holiday, and it's my favorite day of the year. I got barbecues to do, and baseball games to play, and a parade to watch, and pancake breakfast, and all that other stuff. So I'll see you guys on the flip side. How's that sound? All right, how about one of these? Shabam!